everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Just like the past few Thursdays, we have been reviewing some of the newest spirits to come out this year. Tonight, we have 3 new 2023 releases, and I'm going to do a bit of a first reaction kind of flash review style, kind of like we did a couple weeks back with the Old Fits and the oh gosh, I already forget. I've reviewed so much lately, but these are brand new to me. I have tasted them. They're not first impressions. I did want to give some time to actually um, experience them a bit before I did the live. One of these, though, I have not tried, and that is, of course, the star of the night, the Parker's Heritage. This is the 17th edition cast strength rye. I wanted to give this a fresh crack because, one, it's high proof, so I know it's going to kick my palate for everything else tonight. But we do have a couple other whiskeys that I want to give some thoughts on. One of which is the brand new release of Remus Repeal Reserve. If y'all know, Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 6 was one of my top 10 of last year. I actually think Batch 5 was one of my top 10 of the previous year. So this is consistently scored in my top 10 of the year. So we're going to see tonight, is Batch 7 just as good or better than the past few batches? So I'm really excited to get into that one. We're also going to review a new release. I don't know exactly when this one came out, but it's new to my area. This is the Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye, which of course is hard to see because it's a green label, but it is 100 proof rye whiskey from Tennessee. Of course, they had the Bonded Bourbon that came out last year, I believe, along with the Triple Mash, but there's a new Bonded Rye. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of taste through these, work our way up in proof, of course. I also have, just to compare the Bonded Rye, I brought this bottle back out from last week. Last week I did some blending experiments where I blended my own mock barrel blend. There's some new barrel releases. If you missed that stream, go check it out. But one of the ingredients I put in there was this Jack Daniel's single barrel rye. So tonight I'm going to compare the single barrel rye at 47% ABV to the new bonded rye. Of course, there's a pretty big price difference here, but we'll get to that later tonight. I want to say some shout outs to some folks here tuning in live. 5-finger high five to you. Emily Chambers in the chat. What's up, Emily? Emily's one of our great mods here on the channel. Taste and Sensibility, one of our recent winners of the Wheel of Whiskey giveaway. Now, there's probably not going to be a Wheel of Whiskey tonight. I don't have very much of these things to give away. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the night goes. I don't want to promise anything, but if people do feel generous and they do want to, support the show, prize or not, then maybe we'll do a Wheel of Whiskey. We'll see. We'll see. But cheers to you. Good to see you in the chat, Doug. Patrick Bourbon Noob is here. Oh, Patrick and Heather just got back from an amazing Mexico vacation. So jealous. If y'all do want to see some of their travels as well as be a part of our community, we do have a Patreon, Man, there goes the self promo. But we do have a Discord server. I'm dropping the link here in the chat. Such a great community, both patrons and just viewers of the channel. If you want to join that, just put the link in the chat below. Check out their vacation photos. I actually also just got back from vacation. I went to San Francisco last weekend, which is why I was not live. Did a bit of a foodie tour, so check out the kitchen channel to see some of the amazing meals I had. Brandon's in the chat. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you. Roger Randall back again. Good to see you, Roger. Adam Free in the chat as well. Adam is an amazing patron of the channel, as are many of the folks that I've previously mentioned, as well as Steven Sussman and Zofer. Hey, if y'all are patrons, check out the post that I shared yesterday. I put a photo that Zofer shared in our Discord, meeting up with some other people, part of our community, and just expressing his gratitude for being a patron in the channel. And just want to say thank you so much for that. It really did make my day. So y'all check that out. And thank you again for that words of encouragement. Who else is here? Steve Burkout in the chat. What's up, Steve? I thought of you earlier today. I went to the Total Wine Pasadena. And I was like, I feel like it's been a minute since I've been here because one opened closer to me. So I was like, I feel like I remember back when we met up there. That was so cool. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you in the chat. There's the Discord link that I dropped. Of course, everyone is welcome to join. But yeah, so I'm excited to get into these whiskeys. They are new releases, and also new to me. But I think I'm going to start with the Remus. I was debating. I was like, do I start with the Jack Daniel's Bonded because it is the most affordable of these, most available? But I feel like I want to do a little bit of a rye-to-rye comparison with that and the Parker's Heritage. Not that they're necessarily comparable, but I think I want to do those back to back. So we're actually going to start with the Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 7. Now I'm also going to pour myself a little bit of the Batch 6 from last year just to do a little side-by-side. As a reminder, Batch 6 from last year, they're all 100 proof. They're bottled and bond releases. This one is you know what? I said they're bottled and bond, but are they? Am I wrong about that? No, they're not bottled and bond. I don't know why I said that. They're 100 proof, and that's what threw me off. So this is batch 6 from last year. Of course, this is one with the 2% of the. Oh, come on, you can focus. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Did I turn off auto? There we go. This is the one that had the 2% of the 2008 bourbon, which kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. It was a low percentage of that older bourbon. The rest was a little bit younger. But this year, the oldest bourbon in it actually is more percent or higher percentage, is what I meant to say. So, really excited to see how that does. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the 6 before we get into the 7, just to remind myself of how much I love this one. Because, again, yes, I did kind of disappoint me with the low percentage of the oldest one. Doesn't mean it's bad bourbon though. So, Kathy Joe, Women of Whiskeys, you know what I'm here for. Glad I could finally catch a live. Well, Kathy Joe, you don't have to ask twice. If I got you covered, girl. So good to see you. Check out Women of Whiskeys. They go live on Wednesday nights. So check out the replay of this past week. I wasn't able to catch it because I had to go into the office, which is always fun. Return to office, yay! But thank you so much for the super chat, Kathy Joe. Message me after the show. All right. Let's go ahead and revisit the 6, Remus Repeal 6. Again, this was one of my top 10 last year. Did have a little bit of not controversy, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. They only put 2% of the oldest bourbon in there. So I'm gonna pour that. I'm gonna go in equally. I'm gonna go ahead and pour the batch 7 just to have it open up just the same way. Want to give it a fair shot because y'all know I love my Remus, as does Kathy Joe. That was so fun. They received some samples as well, and we did a live stream on their channel last year. So check that out. The Remus Repeal 5. I don't know if we did it. I can't remember if we did it, but did we do it blind, Kathy Joe? I forget because I joined y'all for the stream. Yeah. So got both of those poured, but like I said, let's revisit the batch 6 first. I'm gonna have a sip of water first. Make sure don't forget to drink water. So last year's Remus 6, I'm trying to remember what it placed in my top 10 last year. I could just go to my own channel and like search Bourbon Bites top whiskeys of 2023, 2022, and see what I put in my top 10. Let's see. Gotta skip my own ad, of course. Okay, it was my number 2 whiskey of last year. Oh man, I completely forgot that was my number 2. Wow. Okay. Well, batch 7 has a lot to compete with. So we'll see. We'll see if it makes it the top of this year. By the way, I see 17 people in the chat. Hello, welcome. That's actually a great start for the stream. Usually people show up a bit later. So if you're new here, hi, welcome. Feel free to hit subscribe. I'm here every Thursday, almost every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the thumbs up at any point throughout the night. YouTube thanks you. Actually, I thank you because YouTube will promote my video better if you hit the thumbs up, and it does mean a lot to me. So, yeah, let's have a sip of my number 2 whiskey of 2022. Completely forgot about that. I knew it was in the top 10, but did not know it was number 2. Man, that overwhelming oakiness of this one is what I love about it. I mean, those of you that have been watching for a while know one of my favorite notes on a bourbon is that oak, that rich oak, something that shows age. And even though it only had 2% of that older bourbon in it, I just nose alone, this is an absolutely fantastic bourbon. But let's go and give it a taste. Cheers. Yeah, I mean it's weird because like I don't know if I had already been thinking about the high proof one we're drinking tonight, but that 100 proof hit me like low because I haven't had. I'm trying to think what I had earlier. No, I had a cocktail earlier, but nothing of this proof. That 100 proof drinks so easily. I mean, if you would have asked me, I would have probably said 86, 90 proof. Wow. And this is a relatively new bottle. This is my second bottle of Remus 6. I saw it on the shelf in Total Wine a few months back. I'd already had a bottle before, and I was like, I got to get it back up because, again, number 2 whiskey of 2022. Man, this just impresses me just as much as it did back then. Oaky, yes, it is lower in proof, but it doesn't mean that it's lacking complexity. It just kind of caught me off guard by how low proof it drank. Definitely deserving of my top 2 of last year. What's everyone in the chat drinking tonight? Great question. Yeah, let me know what you guys are drinking. What do you have in your glass? Do you have maybe something similar to what I'm drinking, maybe a rye, maybe a Remus. Let me know. Would love to know what y'all are drinking. Of course, as always, we're doing our after party hangout over on Discord. That's for everyone on Patreon, $10 and up. If you do want to join and support the channel, you can do so for as little as $2 a month. But if you do the $10 tier, you do get access to our um, Thursday night after party hangout, which is every Thursday night after these live streams. I'll put up a little banner here. There is a 30-day free trial to our $10 tier. So if you want to hang out with us tonight, see what it's about, get in for a month, try it out, see if you like the community. Hey, there's a free trial. So patreon.com/bourbon bites. We also do a monthly movie night for everyone $5 and up, which is a lot of fun. We pick an 80s or like a 70s retro movie, watch it together on Discord, and do a hangout after. So all of my Patreon, most of my perks, they're less physical, although there are cool challenge coins. If y'all want a Bourbon Bites challenge coin, there's also that. You can also just message me if you're curious about purchasing one of these. But yeah, I do a lot of community-based perks on Patreon, so check it out. But anyways, back to the whiskey. Sorry, I did my little plugs there. Don Nishida all the way from Hawaii. Aloha, Don. Good to see you here. Granny's batch. Wow, that's an older one. Nice. There's like 2 ounces left. Oh, you can do it. You can do it. I'll pour myself Remus 6. Oh, it was such a challenge, Kathy Joe, to get you to pour that. Taste sensibility just opened my Remus 7. Oh, well, join me for a glass, shall you? Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 7, the brand new release. This is from, of course, the Ross and Squibb Distillery. Squibb, the name just trips me up. Ross and Squibb Distillery. This is, of course, from Indiana, formerly MGP. This is a 100 proof straight bourbon whiskey. It's all distilled there in Indiana at their distillery. Like I said, batch 7 is from 2023, if you were curious. This 2023 limited edition bourbon, no, those are tasting notes. I don't want to read tasting notes. I save those for the end. But I'll tell you what's in here. Let me show y'all if it'll focus. Let's see. Like I said, 100 proof, 6% of a 2007 bourbon. Now, if my math is correct, that is a 16-year-old bourbon. Of course, there's 26% of a 2013 bourbon, which is 10 years old, 21% of 2014 bourbon, which is 9 years old, 26% of a 2013 bourbon, which is again 10 years old, different mash bill, a higher rye mash bill, and 21% of a 2014 bourbon, the 9-year-old, and also a higher rye mash bill. So love the transparency. That's one of my favorite things about these Remus Repeal reserves. They tell you exactly what is in the bottle. If you want the full mash bill, you can go check it out on their website. They break down all of their mash bills. But yeah, so this one's got, 6% of a 16-year-old bourbon. Last year, there was 2% of a 14-year-old bourbon. So maybe they heard us. They heard what we had to say. Let's see if that older bourbon complements this. Now, I do have a press release here. I also want to give a quick shout out to the folks at George Remus who provided this bottle for review. Of course, y'all know, give my honest opinion here. No fluff. But I do want to, get the disclaimer out of the way. Let's see if they give us any more info. Like I said, 100 proof. Suggested retail is $100 per bottle. Limited qualities released this September for Bourbon Heritage Month. So check your stores. This is hitting the shelves now. Like I said, it's between 9 to 16 years old. Already got that. Tasting notes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's a interesting quote. It's from their Sturman. Sturman is their, I don't want to give him the wrong title. Sturzman? Sturzman. Is that their master blender? That's my only guess. Created by Sturzman. It just says created by, Ian Sturzman. There we go. Master distiller. Okay, so it's the master distiller. Good to know. Didn't want to mess that up and give him the wrong title. So Ian Sturzman said, "We believe we have some of the best whiskey in the world aging here at Ross and Squibb. The Remus Repeal Reserve series allows our team the opportunity to showcase these great spirits, as well as showcase our expertise at blending our best barrels to create a special medley each year. As the latest in this award-winning collection, Series 7 is certain to be a highly sought-after and much enjoyed member of the Remus Repeal Reserve family." Now, that tells us not much, but you know what? They're proud of it. They're happy with it. So let's go ahead and give it a nose. Like when you caught up in the chat real quick. Tony says he's drinking beer tonight. Too much birthday whiskey. Oh, well, happy belated birthday, Tony. I didn't realize it was your birthday. Y'all all wish Tony a happy birthday. Tony, if you're on the hangout after, we will sing to you. Just kidding. We might, but we might. We might not. Roger is drinking Calumet 10. Nice choice. Steve has Redbreast 12 in the glass. Oh, nice. You know what's funny? I actually just recommended Redbreast 12 to my my property manager's husband. He was only I rode the elevator with him. He's like, "My wife said you're into whiskey," and I'm like, "Oh, this is an awkward elevator conversation because it's also my property manager." And I was like, "Yeah," and like he's like, "I'm a Jameson guy. Is there anything else you recommend?" And I said Redbreast 12. I'm like, that is like if you love Jameson, hey, Redbreast 12 is a great next step. And I still stand by that. I was also caught off guard. I was like, oh God, the person talking to me in the elevator. Like I didn't know him. I didn't know it was her husband, but I guess he recognized me because again, I live here. So do they. But yeah, gave him the recommendation of Redbreast 12. Felt a little proud of myself. Now, if I would have been more confident, I would have totally like been like, oh, let me go grab you a sample from the room. But I was on my way out. But maybe next time. Next time I run into him. All right, let's go and give the Redbreast 7. What the y'all got me on Redbreast now. Let's go ahead and give the Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 7 a nose. This is the new release. Ooh, okay. A little bit different. Like I said, the Batch 6. First thing on the nose was that older oak. This smelled old, rich, a little bit dusty, a little bit leathery. This one, though, the Batch 7, it's a little brighter. It's a little cherry. You know, if I was guessing, I would give this a bit of a I would guess this might be Buffalo Trace. I get cherry a lot on the Buffalo Trace releases, especially the older ones, like the Stags and the even Eagle Rare. I get cherry. Yeah, there's a cherry sweetness here. Still got the oak, but it's definitely taking a back seat to that sweeter red fruit. Ooh, man, that's surprising from a Indiana bourbon. I don't think I've ever gotten that note so strongly on Indiana. Some people do get grape on Indiana bourbon. To me, it's still more cherry. It's definitely more like I would maybe confuse this as a Buffalo Trace. Taters, calm down. Calm down. Do not buy this. Save it for us. Save it for us. But I'm getting some Buffalo Tracy notes. Yeah, cherry. There's a little bit of like the barrel char. It's not necessarily reading as much as like a richer, older oak like the batch 6. It's reading as more of like a charred, like a toasted oak. That's different, but I'm curious. There's a bit of a vintage note to it too. Vintage and older oak, there is a bit of a difference to me. Vintage to me is more like a. I've been lucky enough to try some bourbons from like the 60s and 70s that have a certain quality to them. That I don't know if it's like the piping. People say that the piping was different. It wasn't cleaned as thoroughly, but I don't know. There's like a bit of that older, not as refined note to it. Which I mean, again, 16-year-old bourbon. What are we talking? 2007. Were we drinking bourbon in 2007? I was in middle school, or actually 2007. I think I was in ninth grade. I had to do the math. Again, not good at math. I was not drinking bourbon back in 2007. If any of you in the chat were, was it better or worse? Controversial topic. I'm curious to hear what you think. All right. While I leave y'all with that controversial question, let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers. Mm. All right. I will say, whereas I feel like the batch 6 didn't quite drink the 100 proof, this is spicier. It definitely has more of a kick to it. Now I'm curious about, so let's see. About God, I can't do math. 25 plus 17 is what? Like less than 45. So like 37%. So 37% of this batch 6 was the high rye mash bill. Whereas the batch 7, oh, okay, maybe I'm not so ignorant. 47% was the high rye mash bill on this new release. So we're talking like 30, 36, 37% high rye versus 47% high rye on the new one. I can tell that rye is spicy, but in a really good way. The cherry is not as prevalent on the palate. That was definitely more of a nose. But it's just as equally rich, balanced, well-rounded. Just an overall really well-crafted bourbon. And I've always said about this about the Remus Repeal Reserves. They really do strive to put out some of their best stuff in these limited edition releases. For $100, this is an absolute winner for me. And I'll be very surprised if this does not make my top 10 of the year. Now, of course, there's still 3 months to go. So, if y'all want something else reviewed, let me know or send me a media sample. But seriously, this is good. I don't. It would be fun to do like a blind flight between this and like this. I think I have 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if y'all want to see another blind flight, I did it last year. If y'all want to see that, let me know. But to me, this is a very different flavor profile, but a very good one. first impression, I might prefer the six a bit better, only because I love that older oak note, that really rich, dense, like it just tasted older, even though this one does have older whiskey in it. But quality in general, on par. I mean, this uh, Ross and Squibb continue to knock it out of the park with these Remus Repeal Reserve releases. Batch 7 is no exception. This is a incredible value for a limited release bourbon. If you can get your hands on it, definitely give it a try. Again, 100 bucks, 100 proof, but some really old, well-aged bourbon in the blend. Yeah, well done. Well done. I'm very, very happy with this. Um, oh yeah, taste and sensibility is drinking it as well. He says, I'm getting a spicy, buzzy raspberry. I don't know, gingery finish like a high rye often gives. Yeah, right on board with that. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I'm a big fan of it. Kathy Joseph saves it for us. Um, it was my birthday yesterday too. Wow, other Tony, great to hear. Yeah, hit the thumbs up though. Bourbon I don't remember, but I miss mid 2000s Johnny Walker. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd be really, really curious to try that. Sounds fabulous. Oh, it is. Kathy Joe, I got you. I got you, girl. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the rise of the night. Now, I did want to do a little bit of a comparison with this too. So let me finish. I'm realizing I'm not drinking through my glasses fast enough. Let me save a bit of that for the after party. I got to revisit these for my hot take. The Cliffy take on this of course, is Clifton is who does the live streams. Cliffy is on the after party. So I'm going to finish off my Remus 6 and get into our next review. We're going to move on to rye, which I know Emily's excited about. I know Emily is a lover of rye. So let's finish the 6. Mm. Big pour, but we're on a roll. All right. So let's move on to rye. Now, like I said, gonna save the Parker's Heritage Rye for the end because it's high proof. But I did want to pour myself a little bit of the whiskey that I was reviewing, or part of my blend last week, the single barrel rye from Jack Daniels. This is not a new release. This is not a barrel pick. It's just a regular 47% ABV Jack Daniels rye whiskey. Now, I haven't had Jack Daniels rye in a long time. This is actually the first one I've had, other than like the limited release that thankfully Brandon in the chat is he said color me intrigued with the rise. I know. So yeah, so we did a bit of the exploration with the Jack Daniels barrel strength rise last year. But yeah, we're gonna tone it down. We're gonna go back down to 100 proof. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna go ahead and pour both of these. Like I said, this is the bonded rye. Now there is no age statement on this. Brandon, do you happen to know anything about age on this one? I do know, obviously, it's 4 years or older. Yeah, distilled in Tennessee. Not much else there. It's I assume the same mash bill as their single barrel rye as their barrel strength rye, but at 100 proof, can't deny. Now this was $40. Now again, this is a 1 liter bottle, so it's like the size of my head. I got a big head. I think that there was a 700 milliliter bottle and a 1 liter, which is interesting. It's like 700 is typically the foreign export, or like like some scotches or Irish whiskeys or that. I thought it was interesting that the Jack Daniels came in at 700 and a liter. Makes me wonder, is that going to be the new norm? Some people theorize that it is. So the 700 was about $30, and then this 1 liter was 40. So I was like, you know what? I need another good cocktail whiskey. I love rye in a cocktail. If you saw the thumbnail, they even advertise it as a thumbnail. Or as a thumbnail. They advertise it as a cocktail rye. Oh, interesting. Brandon said he read that it was 7 years old. Wow, interesting. I did not know that. I tried to find, they didn't send me a press release on this, so I don't actually know for sure. I did look at a couple of reviews, but I'm always iffy about reading reviews before I do a review myself because I don't want to be influenced by it. So I was really trying to skim them really quickly, but I didn't see that mention. But that's really interesting to know. I'll just pull up something real quick. And it just says at least 4 years. So yeah. So could be a rumor, could be the truth, but great inside info there, Brandon. All right. So we're going to start with this single barrel rye, just the regular one. I want to get my palate set for Jack Daniels rye. I remember it being sweet. Last week when I did the barrel blend, like again, if you missed that, it was a lot of fun. I noticed how sweet this Tennessee rye was. Oh, on the nose, it's like powdered sugar. Yeah, it's so sweet, almost like a beignet. Like I don't know. I got Disneyland on the mind. We might be going this weekend. I don't know. But it's, yeah, it's like a powdered sugar beignet on the nose. Yeah, it's so sweet. It does have some of those rye spices, but completely different than the rye spices we got on the Remus Repeal Reserve. It is like a minty. It's like, okay, again, Disney on the mind. Promise I'm not a Disney adult. I mean, we do have an annual pass, but like we only have like 10 pieces of Disney merch in the house. Okay. We do have this. Okay, I gotta show you. Last time we were there, they put out their Halloween stuff. So we had to get us a cute little Mickey Jack Lantern. Maybe we're Disney adults. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. But I mean, we live near Disneyland, you know? It's not too unheard of. But sorry, sidetracked. Anyways, the point I was making is it's kind of giving like a bit of like the beignets and then like a mint julep. I know that's like a New Orleans thing, but like they have a non-alcoholic mint julep at Disneyland that they serve at the same place that does the beignets. It does give me a bit of that mintiness, that minty quality and powdered sugar. So it, weirdly enough, Tennessee whiskey takes me to Disneyland. I don't ask me. Don't ask me why I got that connection, but it did. So that's the single barrel rye. Got my palate set for that one. Sorry for the sidetrack. Brandon says I also have a bottle of the Jack Daniel's single barrel rye. Is that this one? I mean, is it a pick? This is just a regular single barrel rye, just like regular off the shelf. Do you mean pick? I don't know. I'd be curious to try it. Is it the same proof or is it higher proof? Stacy is in the chat. 4 Leaf Whiskey. Good to see you, Stacy. You know what? It's funny. I posted on Discord, but I just picked up a bottle that I ordered at the beginning of the year that I completely forgot about. It was the Teeling 13 year. It's a barrel pick from Total Wine. It's a PX cask sherry. I literally ordered that back in February, and I got a delivery or a pickup email in April. I missed the pickup email, and I was just thinking the other day, I was like, you know what? I thought I ordered something from Total Wine, and then I looked through my emails and I found it. I called them. I was apologetic, and they still had it for me. So just picked that up. Have not quite cracked that bottle, but Stacy, I'm curious to hear what you. I think you said you like Teeling. I'm a fan of Teeling. I love Teeling small batch is my go-to like mixer. I don't want to say mixer. My go-to, like if I'm making an Irish whiskey cocktail, the Teeling small batch is my favorite. This is a 13-year expression PX cask. Stacy, if you haven't tried it, I'm happy to also share the wealth there. Temptation is starting to creep in. Beer tastes great, but for some reason I want to drink Jack Daniels. I don't know why. Maybe I'm good at selling it. A barrel strength release. Oh, okay. Brandon. I was actually going to message you about maybe doing a stream next weekend or the following weekend. I was going to text you, but let me know or text me. If I forget, text me. Older Teeling is very good. Oh, I'm really excited to dive into that one. I'll let you know how it is. Northwest Bourbon is in the house. What's up? Good to see you. All right, I've been delaying it long enough. Let's go ahead and try this Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye Whiskey. Again, it's a green label. I promise. It just doesn't show up because this may or may not be a real background. You know, decide for yourself. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Cheers. Well, first let me nose it. Okay, I just realized that it knows it. Way less sweet than the single barrel, which could be a good thing. To me, it was like powdered sugar on the nose. Got a lot more of that, like, I don't want to say minerality, because when you think Tennessee and minerality, you don't think of Jack Daniels. You think of the other one. But yeah, it's got a bit of like a I don't want to say like a this sounds bad, but like a hard water quality to it. Like a bit of like a, when I say mineral, it's less of like that like Flintstones vitamin that other Tennessee distillery gives you, and more of the like actual like limestone rocks. Is that weird? I'm getting a bit of like if you go into a cave or something. I don't know, on the nose, it's way different than the single barrel rye. Let's give it a taste though. Cheers. Oh. Now, I've had this before. I poured it. I just picked up the bottle yesterday, so I did have a pour out of it. Did not do a comparison though. Compared to the single barrel rye that I have, this just generic off the shelf one, this is way better. And that's a good thing because this is like $40 for a liter. I paid like 30-ish for this 375 of this one. This one doesn't quite do it for me. That though, wow. I had almost written off rye whiskey from Jack Daniels other than like the special releases, like the limited edition ones. But that bonded Jack Daniels, I mean, I bought it. I was like, oh, I can use this in cocktails, but like, I'll continue to do that, but it'll be spirit forward cocktails, maybe like a Manhattan or a Sazerac. Sazerac with that would be really delicious. It almost has a little bit of that. I don't want to say absinthe note, but it does have a little bit of like the. It's not quite as strong as like an absinthe, but it's a little licoricey. Man, that would be delicious in a Sazerac. But even neat, that's really good. All right, Brandon texted me a picture. Oh, of your bottle. Cool. Let me check it out. Oh, it's a single barrel. Okay, if y'all are curious, this is what Brandy's talking about. Come on, it's not gonna focus. My camera, like, especially with a picture of a picture, that's not gonna work. I one more try. One more try. Oh, it didn't focus. I'll tell y'all. I'll tell y'all. I'm really trying. There we. Of course my screen dims. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. There we go. Single barrel proof rye. Nice. This is at what is the proof on this one? 135.3. Nice. Oh, Brandon, you're gonna have to let me try that one, man. you got me intrigued. But yeah, this bonded rye, that's great. I mean, for the price, hell yeah. It's also a winner in my book. Can't wait to one, have this in a cocktail, and two, drink it neat. Honestly, I haven't done a comparison, but this and the compared to like the bonded Jack Daniels, just the regular one, I think I prefer this one. Maybe we'll do a Jack Daniel bonded showdown. The triple mash, this, and the bonded Tennessee whiskey. If y'all want to see that, let me know in the comments below or in the chat if you're here live. Or hit the thumbs up button if you're just enjoying the show. All right, we got one more whiskey to try tonight, and I know it's the one y'all all have been waiting for. Brandon says, I also have a sample of your favorite barrel of the Jack Daniel barrel strength rye. Ooh, Brandon, you're just trying to like be like, I have all these things. Just invite me to your house. I get the hint, Brandon. I get it. We'll do a stream. We'll do a stream soon. Oh, Roger's interested. All right. We'll do it. All right, I'm gonna set these aside because, of course, y'all know I love to come back to these on the after party. Now I'm sad I walked by the Jack Daniel's bonded rye in NorCal and left it on the shelf. Don, this is going to be a national release as far as I'm aware. So keep an eye out. If you can see the bonded regular, the Tennessee bonded or the triple mash bonded, this is coming. This one's just a new one, so it's going to take a minute to come out. But yeah, I mean, it's not something like worth flying back to Northern California. But pick it up while you're here. By the way, Don, I hope you had an amazing trip. I love seeing the pictures on my Discord server. Dropping it again because it's a great community, and I still got the link copied. So check the link over there. All right. Moving on to the final whiskey of the night. Oh, Patrick saw it in Albuquerque. Okay. Yeah, it's everywhere here. It's everywhere here too, Brandon. I just picked it up at Total Wine yesterday. So heck yeah, Jack Daniel's Bottom of the Bond battle. Okay, we gotta do it. Y'all have. Listen, I do this all for you, so I trust that y'all are actually interested. Y'all better show up. Y'all better subscribe, hit that bell button, hit all notifications so you don't miss that stream. All right, we're gonna move on to our final whiskey of the night, the one that I have been so tempted to dive into earlier, but I wanted to give a first impressions of this one because this is a very, very special release. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks at Heaven Hill. They don't normally include me on their mailing list for some of these LEs of the year. This year they took a chance on me, so I want to say huge thank you. This was provided to me by the brand. This is the 17th edition of Parker's Heritage Cask Strength Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey, 10-year-old, 128.8 proof. Parker's Heritage has blown it out of the park year after year. I will say I did not try last year's. I didn't have a chance to try it. The double barrel one that they did, I did not have a chance to try that one. The heavy char bourbon, heavy char rye. There was one other one that I had recently. I think it was after that. Oh, I forget. Both of those were phenomenal. So I'm so excited about this one. This one does not have a distinct finish or different type of oak or double barreling. It's literally just a 10-year-old cask strength rye, which I was like, how is that different than like some of the other stuff they've done? But then I realized the toasted barrel rye that they did from what was that, 2021? The toasted barrel rye was only like 7 years old, if I remember correctly. So this one is older, and that's enough for me. I trust me, y'all know I'm a sucker for older whiskey, like I said earlier. But older rye just shines so much. The age on a rye to me is so apparent and it's so mouth watering. Like I honestly as much as I love an older bourbon, an older rye to me just like blows me away, especially an American rye. So we're gonna check this one out. I do have a press release from them on this one. Make sure I get my facts correct. So this is I already said that. So the suggested retail price on this one is $185, which is reasonable, I think, for an older rye at cask strength. Now there are some other 10-year-old ryes that I can think of that are a bit lower. They aren't quite cask strength though, and this one is coming in hot. This one's 128.8 proof. So that's got that going for it as well. Let's see. Barreled in August, October. That's not good info. It's like these months. These are aged on the first floor of Rickhouse's H1 and H2, the fifth floor of Rickhouse FF, the third and seventh floor of Rickhouse BB, and the second floor of Rickhouse DD. Now, I have been to the Heaven Hill Distillery. I don't know what that means. If you are a extreme Heaven Hill fan, maybe those mean something to you. To me, all I care about is age and proof and just transparency. So I do give them points for transparency. The Rickhouse specifics doesn't necessarily help me. What does help me is the mash bill. They do give you the mash bill here, which is I love. It's their traditional rye mash bill, which is 51% rye, 35% corn, and 14% malted barley. And of course, coming in at 128.8 proof. So I'm really excited to give this a try. They do give you some facts about it here. They said keeping Parker's legacy alive through this ultra premium offering is something It's something we're very dedicated to at Heaven Hill Distillery. That's from their vice president of American Whiskey at Heaven Hill, Susan Wall. She says Parker laid the groundwork for this series, and we believe this cask strength rye release is one that would make him proud. Well, I'm very, very excited to give it a try. Of course, the Parker's Heritage Series is in collaboration with the ALS, ALS Association. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, more commonly known as. So they will contribute a portion of their proceeds from this Parker's Heritage Series to the ALS Foundation, which y'all know I love a good charity here. I do support our good friend Whiskey Mountains. She does a Alzheimer's fundraiser every year. We have a fundraiser coming up for another fellow whiskey tuber here soon. So stay tuned for more info on that one. But do love whiskey with a good cause. Perry's in the chat. He said, I don't know how I made it for a stream. Hello, friends. I love and have missed you. Well, Perry, I love and missed you too. I tried to tune into your stream earlier, but I was like working. I was like, I got to focus on this call, but also Perry, but also this call, but also Perry. So I heard a bit of it. Didn't quite. Wasn't in the chat. I was there. Trust me. All right. So y'all got the facts about this whiskey. Let me cleanse my palate a bit before we give a review of the new Parker's Heritage. I actually looked through my collection. I was like, do I still have a sample of the heavy char rye from a couple years back? Because I was going to do a comparison. Unfortunately, I don't have a sample of that anymore. I didn't have a bottle of that. That was not something I was able to get. I did get the heavy char bourbon, which I love. But I did miss the heavy char rye. So I do not have a comparison directly. Very familiar with the Heaven Hill rye mash bill from Pikesville to Rittenhouse. And all I got to say is I'm very, very excited for this release. Let's go ahead and give it a nose. Oh, wow. It's funny because coming from the Jack Daniel's bonded rye, to me that one definitely knows like a rye. This one, I mean, we're talking 51% rye, so it's definitely a low rye mash bill. But what's shining through to me isn't just the rye. It's the overall just barrel influence of, being a 10-year-old whiskey, a Kentucky whiskey. I think that's what's the dominant nose here. It does have a little bit of spice, a little bit of like a cinnamon, kind of like cinnamon toast crunch, a little sweetness. But man, that barrel influence is so apparent. And that's one thing I love, like I said earlier, about an older rye whiskey, a 10-year-old rye whiskey. I'm so excited to give this a try based on the nose alone. So yeah, it's like brown sugar, cinnamon. Um, I mean, I say cinnamon toast crunch, but like that's a little bit. Is that just cinnamon or is it like brown sugar cinnamon? I don't know. I'm not. I haven't eaten that since I was like a teenager, but it's giving cinnamon toast crunch on the nose. Yeah, it smells delightful. I'm gonna give it a try. Cheers, y'all, and thanks for tuning in to the live stream or the replay. Cheers. Mm. That proof hits you, but in a very, very good way. If you're a lover of high proof like I am. Wow. This again, first impression. Have not tried this one before, but man, I was expecting it to be good. I was not expecting it to be that good. I'll be perfectly honest with y'all. I loved the past Parker's Heritages that I've had. Like I said, I've missed the past year or so. This one, ooh, this is delicious, man. I had my doubts because the only reason I had me the only reason I was hesitant was because I know they've been doing a lot with finishing, like the double barrels, the toasted barrels, and I thought I saw the 10 year and I was like, is this like a cop out? Is it like let's just put out something? We need something to put out. Let's just release a 10 year rye whiskey. But man, was I wrong. This is so delicious. This is I haven't done a comparison. Again, first impressions, but this is probably one of my favorite Heaven Hill releases I've had in the last 5 years. This is definitely a contender for my top 10 of 2023. This is an absolute winner for $185 retail, suggested, of course. Pick this up, give it a try. Wow. Parker's Heritage. I mean, again, I hadn't given up on it. I just haven't had it in a couple years. The nose was not misleading, but the nose was like, you know what? It's cinnamon, it's sugar, it's sweet. But palate, man, that 128.8 proof hits you like a brick, but in a cinnamon toast brick, like a like the only kind of brick you want to get hit by. Yeah, I mean that finish, it on second or third sip, it hits you, but a lot more on the finish versus on the palate. That proof was shocking at first, but on like future sips, it just lingers on the palate. It goes down. The finish is so lingering. Cinnamon, the bit of brown sugar is still there as well. I mean, again, don't get me wrong. This is very typical Heaven Hill. Like we're talking baking spices, like baked good. I always get Heaven Hill a bakery note. This has that, but it's like amped up on the cinnamon. Like you would like just a dab of cinnamon. And you're like, oops, but cinnamon sugar, not just plain cinnamon. This is a wonderful release. Well done, Heaven Hill. This Parker's Heritage 2023 release is a winner. Definitely pick it up if you can find it for retail. So there's my review of all three of these whiskeys tonight. Do you think you have a favorite? Do you think I have a favorite? Let me know. I'm checking the chat now. But yeah, what an amazing. I wasn't expecting all these to be hitters. They're all hitters. I'm very, very excited. Let me get caught up in the chat. Northwest Bourbon said, I know you're a fan of Doc Swenson's. We're featuring them on our live in just over an hour at 9 p.m. Pacific. Oh, nice. Hey, y'all go check out Northwest Bourbon's live stream tonight. I'll be doing my Patreon hangout, but if y'all are not able to make that, definitely check out their stream. One of my mods, feel free to drop a link to the channel, and I'll try to stop in if we're done with our hangout. But Roger says Storytime is releasing a Canadian rye at 17 years and 134 proof, calling it Dragon's Bone Quilibre. I don't know. I don't know. Is that Latin? I don't know what that means, but very cool. I do love an older Canadian rye. I will say an older American rye is more up my alley only because I love the barrel influence. I feel like Canadian rye to me has a lot more of that sweeter vanilla. Um, don't get me wrong, I love it. I have several bottles of Obtainium over there, but I will say I have a special place in my heart for American, like I guess American Canadian. Kentucky rye. Not just Kentucky rye, but Indiana rye. I love the barrel influence on it, but very cool. I'll look into that. Big Vic, cheers to you. Cheers to you, Big Vic. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well tonight. Brandon said definitely the Parkers. Oh man, that gave me like an actual like reaction. I was like, oh my god, I was not. I was expecting to be good, but I was not expecting that level. Thank you, Brandon and Emily, for dropping the link. It means it's rigged. What's rigged? What's rigged? Nothing's rigged. I'm just enjoying really great whiskey here. Again, some of these were provided by the brands, but some of them weren't. So if I had to pick a favorite of the night, I got to say that Parker's Heritage Rye is the absolute winner of my night. For retail, I will search out a bottle of this whiskey. I think it is worth it's worth the hunt. I rarely say that. I'm not much of a bourbon hunter. I don't go store to store unless it's like I'm doing like a road trip and I'm just like passing time. But this Parker's Heritage Cask Strength 10-year-old rye is worth the hunt in my book. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. These are all good. I'm very, very impressed. If you are tuning into the replay, leave a comment below if you're trying one of these or all of these. You know, lucky you. Let me know what was your favorite or what you like about any of these. But I think we're going to call it a night. We're going to go ahead and head over to our hangout for after party, of course, on Patreon. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific. Usually go for a full hour, but we got done a little bit early tonight. Mostly because I was so excited to try these whiskeys. I couldn't resist holding off. So thank you all for watching. I'll be back next Thursday, potentially with a new release from Barrel Craft Spirits. They have some new experimental cask they're finishing with. I don't know if it's going to be for their like single barrel releases or just like a widespread release, but those are on the way. So we may do another barrel stream. I know I did one last week or 2 weeks ago, but might have more barrel. So we'll see. Check it out. Subscribe. Hit the bell button to be notified when I put up that stream. But thank y'all so much. I look forward to drinking with y'all again next week. For those of you on Patreon, I'll see you on the after party. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. Cheers, and I'll see y'all next Thursday. Bye.